Jaylynn, welcome to the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm excited to have you on the call and on the show and excited to share your experience with our coaching program with our listeners. So what's been going on with you?
I'm living life to the fullest and, becoming the best me, just getting this, just being consistent with life. That's for sure. And being present.
That's great.
So,
And now, one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the show and share your experience with our listeners is because I think that you're not in a dissimilar position as a lot of people.
yeah.
And I'd like to kind of take a step back and find out a little bit more information
Okay.
about, how and why you got started, because you've been with our program now for about 14 months and you're
hmm
down a considerable amount of weight and which we can talk about some of the
Yep.
numbers in a little
Okay.
bit here. But I guess, why don't we just start at the
Okay.
beginning is what prompted you to, well, let's go even further. Just tell
Okay.
us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do? And
Okay. So I work for financial services here locally in Phoenix, and I work on the trading desk. And since COVID, we've been working from home. And so you're working from home and, I think life just gets in the way and, you realize you're not doing as many steps as you were. And I gained a lot of weight with COVID. And I will preface this by saying that I was an active person in high school. I was on this competitive swim team. I swam for the University of Washington. So I wasn't a lazy person by nature, but I think when something like a pandemic hits, I think people, or at least for me anyway, I got really overwhelmed and had probably some anxiety to a certain extent about being single and, being by yourself and having no family near you. And I fed my emotions. And so, I think, there's other things preface that and I will say this, and I've told you this too, is that before this, I probably in my 30s, my dad had a triple bypass, and that really freaked me out. So I lost a lot of weight through HCG, and I
right.
maintained it probably for 5 to 7 years. And then I moved here to Arizona probably like 10 years ago, and I just was stressed out with my job, and I gained some weight back. And so I went to a weight loss clinic here, and I was on Phentermine, and I had success with that. But if you just keep on taking that stuff, it's not good for you. And so I was just tired of doing the revolving door, the yo-yo. And I was like, I'm missing something. I always lost the weight, but I would maintain it, but I wouldn't keep it off for years. So I would probably maintain it for like 2 years. And then some stressful stuff would happen, and I wouldn't deal with my emotions or my mindset. I'd always won over, and I used food to cope with that. And
Yeah.
so I basically, I found out about BSL nutrition and you specifically through my chiropractor, Dr. Booth.
Yeah.
And he's a brother from another mother.
Totally.
And I love him to death, and he's a great guy. And he's had a huge success with him, and he's known me probably for 5 or 7 years at least. And he's like, you need to just go talk to him and see if it'd be a good fit. And so I followed you on, I actually followed you on Facebook and then Instagram, and you had a scholarship. And I was like, I'll just do it, the scholarship, and see if I even get anything. I didn't plan on it. And I was like, hey, it was meant to be. And there I am.
Yeah. And now here you are 14 months later.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. So you had done a number of
Mhm.
fairly aggressive dieting
Yes.
strategies in the past. You mentioned HCG. That's like
Yeah.
500 calories
Yep.
plus,
Mhm.
whatever the HCG drug is. And then
Yep.
Phentermine's obviously like dieting pills. And so you found
Yep.
yourself in this roller coaster of yo-yo dieting and
Yeah.
eating very restrictively, clearly in a position where it wasn't realistic long-term.
Exactly. No.
And so then you obviously joined the program, and what has your experience been with the program? Like how has that been different, and what
Okay.
specifically has really helped you?
So I think what the difference is for me is accountability, my mental mindset, and just having some, having the support that I meet weekly with Coach Joey, and I just think what it is it basically I know how to lose the weight, but my thing is how to keep it off. And I think movement, there's three things that I really believe that makes this program so successful is that you have to have movement, you have to have the mindset, and you have to be with that mindset comes consistency when I say that.
Mhm.
And you have to be accountable. And I don't sacrifice. This is what I think is so great about this program. I'm 2,000 calories a day, which I never in my life have eaten that many calories, and it's hard for me now to get to 2,000 calories. And, yes, I eat more protein, but I think I eat more single ingredients. I've learned how to put that stuff, and it's just a habit now. It's so consistent. I feel so much better taking care of myself. I look forward to meal prepping, and just taking care of myself, because when you're taking care of yourself, you are your happiest, and you just, your life and things in your life just go better. And when you put yourself first in the aspect of getting your health, for me, at least that's what makes me feel happy. Taking care of
Mhm.
myself is you're just things go well. I look forward, like if I get stressed at work now and I'm like, oh man, I get up and go for a walk. This is just too much. And I'm like, I'll
Mhm.
go walk for 15, 20 minutes on my lunch break. I'm like, and get my 2,500 steps in. And then, I'm like, thank God I did that. Cause then, you come back and you're just like, God, this is great. I think there's just, you're accountable. You learn, nothing is off limits. I think that's what I love about this. Yes. Do I go out and have a happy hour once or twice a month? Probably. Yeah. I mean, but it's not a sacrifice, because I just feel better when I'm not drinking, and I make better choices. So
What's been the biggest mindset shift, relative to like where you were before joining the program and what you thought you needed to do to lose
mhm.
weight and keep it off versus where you are now and now truly understanding what it takes?
I think the biggest mindset for me is recognizing what is triggering me to eat that food. So for me, like example, um, if I was stressed out or I was hungry, and usually that's precursored by stress. Okay. Or if I'm tired, I get really these weird, I get, before I would get cravings. And so before I tell Joey this, I'm like, if I was like really running back from an appointment coming home and I'm like, oh man, I'm so tired, I really could have a crumble cookie. I go get a crumble cookie, right? Like, but you just can't have one, right? And so I would have like two or three or four in a 2-day period, and that's not a good
Yeah.
thing. So
Right.
for me, I learned what my triggers were and learned how to cope differently with that, to break that habit loop. And that's what I've learned.
I love that. Do you think that's a hard or unconventional thing for people to acknowledge? Because invariably,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's probably a lot of people that are looking for the quick fix. They're looking for, whether they realize it or not, they're
Yes.
looking for the magic bullet.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, well, I need to do keto. I need to do carnivore. I need to intermittent fast. I need to do
Mm-hmm.
Whole30. I need to go
Yeah.
plant-based. I need to do something extreme because it needs to happen fast. It needs to happen now. And it's the only way that's going to work for me. Do you think it's hard for people, or do you think people are receptive to acknowledging that that's actually not what it takes? And
I think if you're ready to be honest with yourself, I think,
mm,
they'll be receptive to this program. I cannot, I mean, I've already done that. I actually did do vegan way before I even probably met Dr. Booth, and I was the hungriest I've ever been. So I will never go vegan, and I like my protein. And not that I'm, I don't think I do an ungodly amount, but what's appropriate for my body weight and where I want to
right.
be. Um, so I still eat tons of vegetables. I still eat some bread, I mean, I just don't go hog wild. There's just, if you're being honest with yourself, I mean, I've done, like I said, I've done HCG, I've done phentermine, I've done the quick fix. Everybody in our society now is on social media, is so instant gratification that they want it right now and right here. And it's like, well, first of all, I didn't put on this weight overnight. It happened over time. And for me, I had to break that thought process, because realistically, it's not going to happen. And you even, when I first interviewed with you, you even said it's not going to take a year. And I was like, I know, I didn't gain it overnight. So I think you have to be realistic about how fast you gain the weight. It's not, you don't gain 100 pounds, 70 pounds, 50 pounds in a month.
Right.
It happens over time, and it just adds up. And let's be real with ourselves and honest in that, it's going to take, being consistent and honest with yourself, and just, you have to be present and accountable for your actions. And I think that's really hard in this society with social media right now, because everything's instant gratification. Oh, look at me, I'll take a selfie. I mean, I don't like taking selfies. If you notice, I have never really even done a before and after picture of since I started. And I just think I don't like taking pictures of myself, but I am working on that. But
that's fine.
But I think that there's something to be said. I think people have to be receptive and honest. There's nothing in here in a quick fix. I think that I know this program, when I reach, my weight, I don't have a number anymore. I thought at first, and I told Joey this a couple of weeks ago, I said, I don't have a number. Yeah, maybe 100 pounds, but that number, maybe it's not. I get there and I don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel healthy. If that's the case, then, I'm okay with that. I just want to be healthy. I want to be able to move when I get to being 80, 90 years old, still be walking. I don't want to be, miserable and feeling like I'm, 150 years old.
As kind of, as a successful woman, as a previous competitive athlete, I think what probably works best for you, and certainly aligns with what works best for the vast majority of our clients, is the fact that you have that level of accountability, and that we challenge you by getting you to show up on a weekly basis. And just by virtue of you showing up and taking ownership over your behaviors, the good, the bad, and the ugly, then invariably you're going to consistently make better and better decisions. And it's not always going to be pretty, but you are going to show up and you are going to acknowledge it, instead of hiding from it and saying, you know what, it didn't work for me. I'll start again Monday. I'll try it again when things don't feel so hard, or when I have more time, or making excuses around it, which I appreciate, you sharing around what's working for you. So what has your progress been over the past 14 months?
So I have lost over 70 pounds. And right now, because I got COVID at Disney World on my vacation, and so slowed down a little bit, but that's okay. And and I think that is what my mindset has changed so much, is that before, I think that instant gratification, social media, I have to lose weight right now, would come into my mind, and I broke that habit loop, and I gave myself some, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, maybe a break or some grace, and said, listen, you have been this consistent for this long, and look where you have come. And consistency produces results. Am I perfect? No. Am I perfectly imperfect? Yes. But I am consistent, and I know where I want to be, and where I need to go. And I just, when when little blips happen, I don't, sit on it like before. I would just kind of avoid the scenario and just, keep on eating. And where now it's like, I just like, okay, if I have a cookie or if I have a drink, I'm like, okay, then tomorrow's like, I know I account for it. And I know that tomorrow's the next new day, and I'll be where I'm at. I don't beat myself up anymore, I have to say. I mean, sometimes I do. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm not perfect about it.
It's not going to change overnight. Absolutely.
No. And I think that's what I love about this program is, you guys make me see things that I don't realize that I did, or that I learn things about myself, like breaking those habit loops. And I think that's that's the biggest mindset thing for me, that breaking those. So I know, because Joey, I was so burned out, actually, probably, maybe was it about 3 or 4 months ago? Yeah. I was like, I'm done. I just want to stop tracking. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And I maintained my weight. And that was amazing, because I came to for me, I know I can do it and not worrying about regressing back to my old self, because I've changed so much and built new habits and built in, new consistent habits, that I know how to deal with certain things. And I just, when I get stressed, I go for walks, even if it's at 9-10 o'clock at night. I don't care. I told Joy I needed another 1,000 steps, and I was already in my pajamas one night, and it was 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. And I walked around my house till I got the extra 1,000 steps. But that's
taking ownership right there.
Yeah.
That's taking ownership. I love it. So we've got our annual workshop coming up again this year, which you were at last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's in November. We're excited to have you. And I'm interested because, you walked in the room almost a year ago, probably 50 or 60 pounds heavier. And you'll be walking in the room again 1 year later, 50 or 60 plus pounds lighter than you were then. What do you think is the biggest change that you will have made? How is life different 1 year later for you?
It's happier, for one. I mean, I love my life. I'm just a happier, healthier, whole person. I'm not, I don't want to say I wasn't depressed. I wasn't on any medication, but I think mentally you're just burned out when you're that heavy. You can't really be happy with yourself. At least for me, I wasn't being honest with myself. And I think walking into there it's an amazing feeling, because I've accomplished so much in this 14 months, on the program. And, in a year, it's just like, it's so sustainable, this program, and it's doable, and I'm worth it. And I don't want to go back, because I love learning new things now, and, being myself, and just continuing to grow as a person. And that's what that's why I'm going to the workshop. I'm going to continue to learn and grow. And, you and Christina and Joey are just been great role models. So, I can't say thank you enough. I mean, it's a great program you have here, and it works. You do the work and you put yourself first, you'll succeed.
Amazing. Thank you. You give me chills, and it's an absolute honor to work with people like you that are growth minded, and you're what we call invested improvers, people that are willing to invest in their success, invest their time, invest their money, invest their energy, and are willing and ready to learn from experts in the industry like us, who know how to help people get great results. But like you said, the determining factor is whether you're actually ready to change or not, and whether you're ready to acknowledge and take responsibility for your daily actions consistently, day in and day out, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and acknowledging that it's just not going to happen overnight. And that the second you give yourself permission to make a long-term commitment is the second that things can start to change without feeling like you need to be restricted, without feeling like it has to be all or nothing, without good or bad foods. And so that, you have the flexibility and freedom to have the things that you want to have, and not have to feel restricted about it, or shame or guilt or regret.
Over that.
Right? Over it.
It has no more control over me.
And it just doesn't need to. That's our mission, is to help change the belief system around what it means to be healthy. Because our health determines our freedom, right? And
exactly.
That's what we want you to have. That's what you've gleaned. That's what we want all of our listeners to have. That's why we do what we do in a ridiculous industry that makes it so seemingly difficult. But that's why we all keep showing up, and that's part of your responsibility now too, and why I'm so grateful to have you being able to share your knowledge and wisdom with our listeners as well. And so let me ask Jaylynn, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
If there's anyone that's listening here, that may be on the fence about working with us and our coaching program, what would you say to them?
Don't hesitate. Choose you. You're worth it. I mean, you're so worth it that you will not regret this program.
Awesome. Jaylynn, thank you so much for
You're
your
welcome.
time and
Thank you for having
energy.
me.
And oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. And I'll look forward to doing this again in another year and
Okay.
highlighting your continued progress. And listen,
For
it's not
sure.
about it's as everyone can hear, it's not about the weight.
No, it's
It's
not.
just, that's just a byproduct. And I think
Yeah.
anyone that's just listened to this, they can identify and say, we're barely talking about the weight. Clearly, this is such a mindset shift.
Yeah.
For you and your
Correct.
life and your goals and your long-term health and well-being. And that's
Yeah.
ultimately what we see with every single client, where it might be about the weight coming in. At least that's might be what you think it's about. But underlying all of that is much, much deeper purpose and meaning. That is what we're all about, helping you reveal. And you clearly have done that, and you're putting in the work consistently, and we're excited to see and to be able to continue to support you. So we will see you soon at the event.
For
and
sure.
If for those of you listening, if you want to have a conversation about what it would look like to work together, and to be fair, we don't take just anyone into this coaching program. We are selective about the type of people that we include. Like we said, these are our invested improvers. These are people that are willing to make the commitment. So we do have a qualifying process. We do have an interview process, and we want to make sure, frankly, that it's a good fit on both sides, so that it's a good fit for you, and we know that you're the right fit for the program, and we guarantee your results, or we will give you your money back. It's that simple, because just like Jaylynn's experience, we know full well that we have the tools to make it unreasonable for you to not hit your goals. But you have to show up for yourself and for your coach every single day. And that's the disclaimer there is, are you willing to show up for yourself, for your family, for your future? Because we're here to support you when you're ready. So if you feel like you're ready, if you want to have a conversation, just shoot me an email, click on the link in this in the show notes to schedule a coaching, a strategy call, or shoot me an email, ben@bslnutrition.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you and welcome you into the program if it feels like the right fit. Jaylynn, thanks again.
Thanks.
And we will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Ben.